I'm going to go to my number 10, which is Asteroid City. Amanda, you have this a little higher on your list? Or?
Yeah, just a little. That's my number 9.
All right, so we can talk about it a little bit now.
Let's do it now, yeah.
The latest from Wes Anderson, I mean, there's a million adjectives that you could use to describe just about every Wes Anderson movie. It's kind of picture book-esque. It's pristinely crafted. You know, the visuals are immaculate in a way that I don't think any other filmmaker is really quite working on that level. But you could say that about some of the movies that are lesser Wes Anderson as well. I think what really stands out to me about Asteroid City is that there is this real emotional core to it, this a really vulnerable element where he's not only examining these characters, but he's sort of doing a kind of refraction of his own career. It's interrogating the idea of why we tell stories and why we connect to stories and why stories matter to us. And I think there are so many just little moments, little bits of dialogue that speak so profoundly about these really deep ideas. I can recall certain scenes, particularly like the Margot Robbie wife scene, where she's shows up for such a small part in that movie, but it is one of the emotional cores of the year. It's such a beautiful moment. I don't know. I think it's great. I also really love Jason Schwartzman in it. It's just an incredible performance from one of my favorite underrepresented actors, I feel like. But
yeah.
Great year for him.
It took me so long to realize it was him.
Yeah.
It took me until the scene where he is auditioning for the role to be like, holy shit, that was Jason Schwartzman. Because he's his voice sounds different. Like he's just doing something with his voice. They've given him color contact. So it's all these little subtle things that I'm like, oh my God, that is exactly who that is. And it was so good.
And there's probably no actor who can make Wes Anderson's words sound like poetry more than Jason Schwartzman. He's so good in it.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Wright, who's another person who's had a great 2023, is so good in it. So many actors, so good in this movie. So good. It's a movie that I love as a whole, but I also just think about all these small elements of it, and it makes me happy. So
yeah, I also obviously everything you said in terms of how it's putting the eye on himself, his own career, and just creative process and why we connect with things we connect with, and just every stage that goes into making this movie. But I also just found that it I don't know, the way it was engaging with that also just felt like it was engaging with how it feels to be alive, just kind of the things that why you might make certain choices in your life, and what is the reason behind certain things, what's the purpose behind decisions you make or the things you do. And I just thought it was really beautiful on that end too. So that was another one at Cannes that I was thank God I finally got a movie that doesn't is not mediocre or good, but didn't hit me quite as much as I wanted it to hit. This one hit, and it's so good because I hated French Dispatch. So I was very glad that he came back with the fire. If you're gonna do these multi-style character stories, I much prefer it being this is a person telling the story of a person who is telling a story, and these are all the people that are in that story. So I also just love the way that it looks, the way that the world was built for the city. Just all these little things, and there's nobody underused, nobody overused. It was very, I don't know. I like it a lot. Big fan of it.
Team French.
I saw Art taking a very deliberate sip of his mug there.
But I don't like anthologies. It's very hard for me to get taken with anything that's an anthology. So if French Dispatch did not do it. And I also saw it with someone who hated
that's
it.
That's why I think the story that he's telling there, what you guys are saying, what he's reflecting on and I don't mind. I don't think it deserves to be on worst list people have put what's it called in. But I think what he's reflecting on in this one, it's what he was being very progressive with in French Dispatch, and knowing that it was going to be this the support of a bunch of different stories. I think that's where Jeffrey Wright is really cooking. He's doing good technique over here, good skill, but there's heart in that other performance.
I forgot he was in French Dispatch, so I don't know what that says about his performance in my memory of it. I forgot he was in it.
We're going to have to duke it out afterwards. Not French Dispatch forever.
It's funny.
I'll give it another watch. I'll give it another watch. I forgot he was in it.
It's funny. I think Amanda usually has some choice that I don't think particularly highly of, and I took some choice
Yeah.
that she doesn't think particularly highly of. Knowing what happened this year, I think you and Art might be the ones who are at each other's throats during this podcast.
think
There's
so.
going to be a couple
Gonna kill each
controversial
other by the end of
choices.
Yeah.
We actually do. Yeah, no, you're right. You're already
Yeah.
spoiling it for later. We do have a couple.
But
We have
We'll
a
keep it at
couple.
peace for now. We'll
At least
save our
one
battles.
of them. At least one of them, I know it's like I think I'm
Yeah.
wrong. It's just not for me. And one of them, I think you're crazy. But we'll get there.
And I don't hate Asteroid City.
yeah, I mean that's the interesting thing
there
though,
you go.
is that I do think there are a lot of similarities between Patch and Asteroid City. I think they're after very similar ideas.
There are.
I'm more on Amanda's side in
Yeah.
that
They are.
I think
I
the
agree.
combination just worked better in Asteroid City. But yeah.
For me.
I don't know if we'll ever have a whole spoiler discussion, but I definitely do think that Asteroid City is him venting as
Yeah.
him as the creator about like his career and everything, like you guys have said, from his perspective. French Dispatch was him being willing to hear that out and do something about it. I think that's maybe why I connected to that more, because the whole you can't fall asleep if you're always awake is like, I like it. But it's okay to make what you want. I think that's why Asteroid City hit with a lot of people, because he's at that point in time where it's like he needs to reflect on his entire career. But I don't think he ever did anything wrong. Like, I am okay if he would have just kept making his funny little movies. But you're in an era and time where it's like everyone's platform needs to be something, and I think that's exactly what he's saying. In that, you know, you can't fall asleep if you're always awake, and it's, I think, a mantra a lot of people needed. But showing what he did with Jeffrey Wright in French Dispatch, I was like, nah, you're good, bro. Make whatever you want. And Asteroid City will grow on me for sure.
I'll watch French Dispatch
There we
again.
go.
I've only seen it once, so.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, you know what? I'll bring my copy to Sundance.
That's what we
Sundance?
do on,
All right.
on
We'll
Intercut.
find
We build
time.
bridges
We'll
through
find time.
movies.
I gotta buy it first. I gotta buy the copy first.
All right, so Asteroid City, I got it at number 10. Amanda has it at number 9.